Salofalava, this is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Susana Swiswiki. Coming up,
men make the best leaders and men rule the world. He doesn't look beyond that.
Fiji women's rights activists accuse their Prime Minister of gender bias. Also,
I want to show the international stage the heart of our destination, which is our Cook Island people.
the Miss Cook Islands pageant returns for the first time since the pandemic, and the Kiwis come from behind to break Samoan hearts in Sydney. Women's groups in Fiji hit out at the Prime Minister this week, saying he promotes patriarchy and gender bias. Two key organisations criticised Sitiveni Rambuka after men were appointed to diplomatic roles in Israel, Indonesia, Geneva and New Zealand. At least 12 women applied to become ambassadors in the four countries, however none were shortlisted. Margot Staunton reports.
The Prime Minister initially claimed there were no female applicants, but later clarified that there were 12. Sitiveni Rambuka said he had not seen the full list of applicants and none of the women were shortlisted because they didn't meet his standards. The Fiji Women's Crisis Centre says women have always been underrepresented at the executive level in the civil service and private sector. Its coordinator, Shamima Ali, says inequality is driven from the top.
Patriarchy is very much alive, and the Prime Minister that we have favors men over women. It's not that we don't have women. We have many, many women. We just have to look for them. But that's not the way things are done around here.
She believes Mr Rambuka and the government deliberately exclude women.
He doesn't see women as leaders, as the rest of society doesn't see women as leaders. That whole bias attitude that men make the best leaders and men rule the world. He doesn't look beyond that. Neither do people in his own cabinet.
Pacific Waves reached out to the government's Information Director, Samasoni Pareti, for a response to her comments. The coalition government has since announced that it is committed to advancing women's participation and leadership in the Foreign Service. It said in a Facebook post that for the first time in Fiji's history, the top leaders in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs included 3 women. Ms Ali says government policy on gender equality does not play out in reality.
While we have wonderful policies on women and gender equality, and we have a country gender assessment, we have all kinds of things, policy papers passed by cabinet and so on, the reality is very different for women.
She says female leaders are also encouraging inequality. Meanwhile, the Fiji women's rights movement describes the recent outcome as dismal. Its executive director, Nalini Singh, says the organisation knows of at least one female applicant who is more qualified than some of the appointees.
It is indeed a reflection of the attitudes that are deeply entrenched in the leadership that we see today in Parliament, in boards, etc. We are not necessarily making any progress.
She says the appointment process is often done behind closed doors.
We, over the last few years, tracked the number of women on statutory boards, and we are stuck at about 20%, and the government needs to be working with us and other stakeholders in terms of addressing those barriers and challenges.
Ms Singh says change is well overdue. Pacific Gender Outlook, released by UN Women and the Pacific Community, highlights gender gaps in the region. The report shows that less than 8% of parliamentary seats are held by women in the Pacific, the lowest share in the world. It also found that younger women are notoriously absent from leadership roles. However, Palau, Samoa and the Federated States of Micronesia had made significant improvements in hiring women to decision-making roles.
The Miss Cook Islands beauty pageant has made its first comeback since the COVID pandemic. Tiare Henry Anguna, who was crowned Miss Cook Islands 2025, is the youngest ever winner of the competition. The national pageant has been on hold since 2020, initially due to the onset of the COVID pandemic and a lack of participants. Tiana Haxton spoke to the newly crowned Miss Cook Islands and filed this report.
20-year-old Tiare Henry Anguna has become the youngest woman ever to hold the Miss Cook Islands title, earning her crown in front of a packed crowd 1 week ago.
Miss Cook Islands 2025. Congratulations, she is Tiari.
The new queen says it is a dream come true.
It is my absolute honor and privilege to be Miss Cook Islands 2025, and I aspire to do my very best for our people, our Cook Islands, and to take us on the international stage, representing our beautiful destination, but also our beautiful and wonderful people of the Cook Islands.
Miss Henry Anguna says the moment her name was announced felt surreal.
I just remember absolutely zoning out. As soon as I heard Henry Anguna, I could not believe it. But the first person that came to my mind was definitely my dad. And I just saw him and I felt his presence next to me as well.
She was overcome with emotions on stage as she took her first walk as Miss Cook Islands 2025. She dedicated her win to her late father, who had always encouraged her to enter the pageant.
My dad was my biggest inspiration. He was my drive. He was my huge motivation. He always wanted me to join Miss Cook Islands since I was young. So I wanted to fill that out for him. But it's also been on my bucket list since for quite a long time.
For the 20-year-old, the pageant experience has been life-changing. She says it has built self-confidence, public speaking proficiency, and made her feel more empowered as a young woman. Beyond the glitz and glamour, Miss Henry Anguna sees her reign as an opportunity to serve her community and advocate for young people.
So personally, it is a job, but this one is more extra special. This is an opportunity for me to be a voice and to be an ear for our youth, because it all starts with them today and will end with it tomorrow.
She will take these values with her to the Miss World pageant next year. The last Miss Cook Islands title holder, Tajia Sahai, reached the top 6 at Miss World in 2019 and was crowned Miss World Oceania, the highest placement ever achieved by a Cook Islander. While the competition details are yet to be confirmed, Henry Anguna already knows how she wants to represent the Cook Islands.
I want to show the international stage the heart of our destination, which is our Cook Island people. And I want to show the values that we hold. For me, I have 3 different values, and that's always to be kind, to always have respect for others, but to always remain humble. So stay tuned, world, because we're coming for you.
While Henry Anguna prepares for Miss World, her pageant sisters are also gearing up for other international pageants. First runner-up Zoe Hoff has already departed Rarotonga to compete in the Miss International pageant in Tokyo at the end of the month. Second runner-up Matangaro Tarabe will grace the stage in Thailand next September to compete for the Miss Grand International title. Their representation marks the Cook Islands' long-awaited return to the global stage after 7 years away.
There are mixed results for Pacifica teams in Rugby Union and Rugby League at the weekend. While Manu Samoa and the Cook Islands celebrated their victories, the Flying Fijians and Toa Samoa both fell short. Senior sports journalist Iliesa Tora joins us for a talanoa to break down all the results. Pula Iliesa, the Cook Islands Rugby League team celebrated in Sydney on Sunday. What was the course of their celebration?
Yes, mula binaka Maloto Lava. Cook Islands I2 managed to beat South Africa 58-6 in the last qualifying games for the 2026 Rugby League World Cup. In Sydney on Sunday afternoon, they managed to do that in style. In the first half, it was a bit of a tight game because South Africa were able to score a try and had 2 disallowed, unfortunately for them, but the Cook Islands held on to lead at halftime. And then in the second half, they were able to run out clear winners. KL Liro said after the game that it was really an exciting time for them. They had a tough Pacific Bowl competition where they played the Fiji Bati and the PNG Kumals and lost both games. But fortunately, although they lost, the games were very close. And they were able to go back to Rarotonga and had that week-long camp and then headed to Sydney to play that qualifying game. So they are now the 10th team that has qualified for the Rugby World Cup, and they will join other Pacific Island teams like Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, and Papua New Guinea at the Rugby League World Cup next year. So big congratulations to the Cook Islands, and also big celebrations by them in Sydney at the weekend.
Yes, absolutely. Congratulations to the Cook Islands Rugby League team. Unfortunately, Toa Samoa weren't able to topple their opponents, the New Zealand Kiwis, in the Pacific Cup final. What happened there?
Another tough game that was on Sunday. Toa Samoa had led 14-6 at halftime. They had started very strong. They were in the game in the first half, and they were doing everything right. But in the second half, the Kiwis turned things around. Veteran playmaker Kieran Foran, in his final test match, was instrumental in setting up some of the Kiwi attacks, and they managed to score tries in the last quarter that mattered for them. It was really unfortunate that Toa Samoa were not able to continue the performance they had shown in the first half, and they seem to have fallen back on attack, and they were not really showing the fire that they had shown in the first half, unfortunately for them. But the Kiwis have claimed another Pacific Championship crown with that win, second out of the last 3 years, and they had farewelled playmaker Kieran Foran with that final win.
Well, I guess it's not all sad news for Samoan sports fans. Manu Samoa recorded their first win over in Dubai. Why is this one significant?
Yes, Manu Samoa, as we know, are trying to secure a spot at the 2027 Rugby World Cup. And the final qualifying tournament in Dubai is where they will need to do that. This is their D-Day or D tournament for them. They managed to win 48-10 against Brazil on Saturday night there, and Sunday morning our time in New Zealand. Very good win, and they have 2 more games to go. They have Namibia and Belgium, the other teams that are also in the running for a World Cup spot. Belgium caused the upset of the event when they defeated Namibia in their game. So that will be an indicator of how strong the two teams are also. But Manu Samoa winning that, starting off with a good win and having that advantage, and they will head into Friday's second game against Namibia. And Namibia also one of the teams that has played in the World Cup previously. So celebration time for Manu Samoa, but the team management are saying they're keeping everything low as they continue to focus on achieving their aim. If they win against Namibia, then they are certainly going to the World Cup in Australia in 2027.
Best of luck to Manu Samoa for the rest of their matches. Meanwhile, the Flying Fijians were left disappointed at the end of their clash against England. Can you talk us through that game and what's next for the Flying Fijians?
Yes, another disappointment there for the Flying Fijians. They had started well in that game at Twickenham against England on Sunday morning, but in the second half, England went about and managed to score the tries and got the win in the end. They won 38-18. Mick Byrne, the Flying Fijians head coach, saying after the game that it was tough. There were some decisions he thought were controversial, but the Flying Fijians would have taken a lot of learning from that game. Tevita Ikanivera, their captain, said post-match that they know what they need to be doing. As they had 2 fronts, they will be playing front in their second test match this weekend. And England, in doing that, in winning that game on Sunday morning, England managed to avenge the loss that they suffered at the hands of the Flying Fijians at Twickenham in August 2023. So Flying Fijians lost, but a lot of learnings, and they're heading into France for this weekend's second match on tour.
That's Pacific Waves for today. Tomorrow, Trouble in Paradise. We bring you the latest on New Zealand's beef with the Cook Islands. For all episodes, head over to rnz.co.nz/Pacific. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, tō whā soifua.